I'll just start with the introduction and then we can go to the agenda. Okay. So hi everyone, I am Manish. I am a PMP and SPC certified. I'm Agile coach, and I do have an experience of around 13 years and working currently as Agile coach in TCS. So that's brief about me. I'll leave it to Praveen to introduce himself, then I can start in.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Manish. Nice to be part of it here with you today. I'm Praveen. So I have close to 13 plus years of experience. So I worked in SAFE for more than from 2013. So I started as a SAFE developer and then now working as a Scrum Master for multiple teams. Uh, and again, I'm PSM2 completed. I completed ICT, ACCSL coaching certification. So good to be here with you all today and looking forward for this session. Uh, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Praveen.
I'll, yeah.
Could you please-
We'll just share both of our LinkedIn profile on the chat. Maybe you guys can take a look. Be short for any.
Okay.
Yeah. Over to you, Manish.
Okay. Can you please share your screen? Also request other peoples to go on mute if they're not speaking in context of the session.
Yeah, I just did. Able to see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Okay. So the session is all about the user story estimation secrets. I could hear some background noise. I'll mute Ritesh. Okay. Okay, this session is all about the user story estimation secrets presented by me, Manish, and Praveen. Uh, can you move to the next screen, please? Sorry. Yeah, so I'll quickly go through the agenda, what we are going to discuss in this session. So basically, we'll start with some facts and myths about the estimation. Then we'll briefly introduce about the estimation. What is relative estimation? What is absolute estimation? What are the estimation techniques that we have? And when we'll shift our gears towards the relative estimation, where we'll focus on planning poker and why we do use Fibonacci series, why don't we use the normal sequence series, and then we'll focus on the best practices and common pitfalls that teams encounter during their estimation sessions when they do this on the real world, and then we'll have some time for the Q&A. Okay. So I want this session to be a bit interactive. So these are some facts or myths type statements. So I'll state a statement, then you have to type in chat that whether it's a fact or a myth according to you. Okay. The statement number one is that estimations are one-time activity and are exact predictions. So is this a fact or is this a myth according to you?
It's a myth.
Myth.
Okay. Okay. Next is a relative estimation is less accurate than absolute estimation.
True.
Fact.
Mhm. Okay. I could see some of are answering myth as well. That's okay. Okay. The next is only experienced agile team should use relative estimation. Is it a fact or a myth?
It's a myth.
Mhm. Okay. Next is story points can be compared across different teams, and it helps measure of to measure different team performance.
It's a myth.
Myth.
Okay. Story points translate directly to time.
It's a myth.
Myth.
Mhm. And the last is estimation is typically done by the entire team to leverage collective knowledge and perspective.
Fact. Fact.
Hmm. I could see
But
some of
developers only were doing that one, right? Not the entire team.
yeah, we'll discuss that.
Fine, fine.
So some of you have answered myth and fact as well for the last one. So we'll discuss. I mean, some of you might have answered wrong, so don't get worried. So we'll discuss in next 1 hour how we can understand this, how we'll have deep understanding on these topics. And at the end of the session, we might want to revisit these questions again and then see is our understanding is correct then or not. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, Can you move to the next slide? So the first question first. So what is estimation? So basically, estimation are sometimes called the guesstimates as well. And why do we call them guesstimates? Because we are guessing something. We don't know. I mean, it is very difficult for us, for human beings, to give a predictable number that at this particular time, at this particular location, I can complete this story or this task. So because we don't know the uncertainty that is going to come in our way. We are working in a complex world where things are unknown to us, and we don't know how things are going to behave. Similarly, I mean, in software industry or software development, we are working in a complex environment. We don't know what are the challenges that are going to come in our way. So it's very difficult to estimate exactly, okay, at this particular day or in this particular number of hours I can finish this user story. So what is the solution of this? I mean, if you are not able to estimate this, so is it okay, is it not okay, according to you? Is it okay if you are not able to estimate precisely?
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Should be okay.
So we'll see. So, I mean, answer is okay. So basically, we are simply doing the guesstimates. We just want to understand, or we just want to give a projection to the leadership or the business owners, okay, when they can realize the actual value out of this. And we are the more focus is on the developing the shared understanding of the work, why we are doing this estimation. Basically, we want to understand what type of work we are performing rather than giving a number. We just want to understand what type of work we are performing. So to develop that shared understanding, estimation is preferred. So usually there are two type of estimation. One is a relative estimation and one is absolute estimation. And if you see this cone of uncertainty. So what this cone of uncertainty represents, that it represents the uncertainty in the estimation. So let's say you have some new requirements coming in your way, and which is not being refined at the minute level. So you'll not be able to estimate that in a with very precision. So you will give that estimation either based on your experience, if you have done similar kind of work, or probably you will give some rough estimates, that is called rough. I could see some background noise. Please go on mute if you are not speaking. Sorry to bother, but it disturbs, it breaks the flow. Thank you for understanding. Okay, so we are saying that, okay, we did some relative estimation here, or rough high level estimation, when things are not clear to us, or when we do not have much clarity of the work that we are going to do. But we need to do the estimation on regular basis. I mean, it's not a one-time activity that once we did the estimation at the product backlog and we'll not do that again. So sometimes I have heard in our team that, okay, they have done the estimation during the product backlog sessions, but during the sprint backlog they want to carry the same estimation. So that creates problem, because when we did the earlier estimation during the time of backlog refinement, the requirements or the clarity was not that much. But now we understand, and now we have refined the stories. Now we have break down those stories further into tasks. Now we understand, okay, this is the work that we want to do. And because sprint is a fixed time, we cannot extend the duration of the sprint, so we need to finish that particular task in that particular sprint. So the precise the estimates will be, then the better will be it for the team to deliver the work that they are committing, and they in order to reach to the sprint goal. So if you see the wider mouth of the on this uncertainty cone, where we are doing the high level estimations where things are not clear, but as soon as you move towards the right, you refine these backlogs into further features or story, whatever structure you follow. That does not mean that you have to follow the same structure, but simply means that you need to refine your work, and then you will be able to do the some absolute estimation. And if you see the sign over here in the bottom of this line, so you see it is saying that do not commit your work when you don't have much clarity. So, I mean, if you commit your work when you don't have much clarity, or you have not refined your work very clearly, so it would be very difficult to meet those commitments, because you don't know what are the challenges that are going to come in your way. Okay, can we move to the next slide, please? Okay, so if I ask you, I mean, before jumping to the relative or absolute, if I ask someone, what is the height of the Eiffel Tower? Can someone tell me? I mean, I'm not asking you to Google it, or even I don't want the exact numbers, but what I'm trying to make you understand, if I say that, let's say Statue of Unity is 100 feet. Can you now guess the height of Eiffel Tower?
244, I think it is.
Okay.
It's bigger than Dubai and smaller than Empire
It's
State.
around 330 feet.
4 times of Statue of Liberty.
Exactly. So, I mean, see, this is how human brain is designed to work. So when we have been asked to, work to measure the work in a relative estimation, but if I have to ask or measure it in absolute terms, that you need to measure it every inch or every centimeter, then it would become very difficult. For example, you might have observed from your real-time experiences, let's say you were sitting in a group of 5-10 people, and you know your height, obviously, okay, and let's say you are 6 feet tall, and you are a group of people, and you can easily predict the height of other people, because you have a reference of some reference in your mind with which you're comparing them with your height. So it would be very easy for them for you to measure give reference of their to give the number of their heights. Let's say you are 6 feet, some would be around 5 feet, 4 feet, based on if someone is shorter than you, then you can say it's 5'5" or 5'8", and if someone is bigger than you, it might be 6'2", 6'3". So it would be difficult, it would be easier for you to give the reference, because the reference that you are measuring with. Okay. So that is what the relative estimation is. So basically what is trying to say that if you have to measure the things in absolute terms, let's say you have to measure this house, how much time it's going to take to build this house. So it might be very difficult for you, let's say. But if I say that this house takes, let's say, 100 days to build, and this is a double story house, and this has all double, let's say this house has one room, smaller, the one with the red roof, and the one with the black roof has 2 rooms. So you can say, okay, if this takes 1 day of work, then probably it will take 2 days of work. So it becomes very easy to compare in the relative terms when you have a reference with you. So that is what we are trying to do. We are not trying to measure exact time, but what we are trying to measure the absolute relative terms, in relative terms, how big that item is. Okay. Any questions so far on the relative and absolute, because this is something very critical and I don't want you to miss this. Okay, I'll take the silence as no. So when you did
Manish,
this estimation, I mean, let's say in comparing this height, so yeah, go ahead, please.
yeah, sometimes it has been asked, do you do estimation through relative sizing or absolute sizing? So we need to explain them fully, or just to tell relative sizing and why?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on, I mean, there was a question in the fact or myth that whether we experience agile team should use the relative or not. So we should always use the relative, and I'll give you the reference of this. I mean, I'll give you another example of this. So for example, there are two players who is trying to run a marathon. Okay, and one is experienced runner and one is a is my voice breaking? Is it breaking for everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, but
Yes.
yeah, give it a try now. Yeah.
Okay, let me switch off my video in that case to save some bandwidth, because I could see that is okay. Is it better?
Yes, Manish. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I was
Yes,
just
Manish.
mentioning that let's say you have two sprint runners who are going to run 10 kilometers. Okay, and one is experienced runner and another one is a very new one who has never run, and we are asking them, okay, how much time will you take to finish this 10 kilometer? The experienced one says, I will finish in 1 hour, and the new guy says, I will finish in 2 hours. So there's no question about the 1 hour or 2 hour. We are not negotiating in terms of time, how much time will you take, whether it will take 1 hour or 2 hours. We are trying to measure in terms of complexities. For example, the experience one, for example, the experience one will give this 10 kilometer as 1 point for him, and the new guy who is going to take 2 hours gave the reference as 2 hours as 1 point. So when they run for the 20 kilometers the next time, so let's say it will be twice for both of them. So they will give the two numbers. I mean, although the distance is going to increase, but the reference with which they are comparing is just double. So they will give the two numbers. So it's not about the distance or the time that we are going to measure. It's about the complexity and the uncertainties that we have. Okay.
Manish, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Can we say this is an attempt to bring everyone has this same understanding of the
Definitely.
efforts?
So
Definitely. Yes.
the
Yeah.
purpose of the estimation is to develop the shared understanding of the work. It's never to give numbers or these numbers does not make any sense to the team. I mean, if someone outside your team sees this number, this does not make any sense to them. So it's for the internal team purpose where we are trying to have develop an understanding, shared understanding. Okay, this is the work that we have. This is the definition of done. This is the acceptance criteria that we have with which we need to create this increment. Do we, as a team, do we agree to this, and how much time or how much complexity do we see in order to fulfill this? And if there is any experience in the team who has seen similar kind of work, he or she can share his experiences in order to complete that work fast.
Okay.
Yeah, Manish. I think
So
Sharan, we have an exercise in the session. So
Yeah.
we are all going to do that same
Yeah, we'll
without
park
discussing any
the
time.
questions
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
last session. So I thought I can take a couple of questions. I just why I do it. So I
Yeah.
don't want to miss the time boxing. So
fine. Sure. Thank you.
thank you. So let's say, I mean, when you have given the height of this Eiffel Tower or Statue of Unity, so what you have done? I mean, when I asked you, okay, let's say Statue of Unity is 100 feet or 100 meter, whatever unit you want to say, and if I ask you, okay, looking at the diagram, looking at the picture, how do you see the Eiffel Tower? So it looks like it's roughly 1.5 times of the Eiffel Tower. Let's say Gujarat is 100 feet, for example, then Eiffel Tower would be 150 or 160 around this. So what are we doing? We are analyzing the work that we need to finish. Okay, we are analyzing the size of the work that we need to compare, and then we are doing some calculation in our mind. Okay, it looks like 1.5 times, it looks like 2 times, and then we are able to get to a estimation. Okay, it looks to me, based on my experience, based on my calculation, it looks like it is 1.5 times, and based on that I can give you the estimation. Praveen, can we go to the next slide, please? And similarly, it happens in the IT world as well. So what is something that we need to measure? We need to measure the size. And how will you measure the size? So let's say you have some work to do. Let's say you have 300 units of work that you need to finish, and you did some calculation in your mind. Okay, roughly I can do 20 units of work per sprint or per defined unit, whatever, one sprint, two sprint, whatever you want, and how much duration it is going to take. Then you will divide 300 by 20. It will give you roughly 15 iteration. We are not bothering whether it will take 15 or 16 or 14. 5-10% variation is completely fine. What we are uh, more focused on, that okay, it gives the business owners an understanding that how much time they have to invest in this and how much budget they have to secure for this, so that they can realize this value to the market. Because ultimately, whatever product we are creating, that needs to be created in a fashion that it can create value for us. Okay, so that gives an idea to the business owners when they can realize value out of this particular team increment. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, now there are estimation techniques that we need to focus. For example, if you see the absolute estimation there, so the one technique that we prefer in the absolute estimation is the ideal time. So what is the ideal time? So ideal time, as the term represents ideal, so basically it has some presumptions associated with that, with it, that it is the all you work that you have. You don't have any work apart from this work that you're currently doing, and no one is interrupting in your work, and you have all sort of resources that you have with you in order to complete the work. But practically it gets difficult to have such kind of scenario. For example, I mean, you might be aware that let's say there is a basketball game which runs around, I'm not aware of the exact duration, let's say it runs around 100 minutes per game, but it is the ideal time of that particular game. But does it actually finish in that 100 minutes? No, because there might be some time when clock gets switched off and time will not get measured. So the elapsed time will always be greater than the ideal time. So there is always a deviation in the ideal time versus the elapsed time, because elapsed time is always going to be greater than the ideal time. So how to overcome this absolute measurement? So in order to do that, we have couple of techniques in the relative estimation. For example, t-shirt sizing. T-shirt sizing is usually done in the large, extra large, small, extra small kind of thing, where you need to just do a rough estimation or higher level of estimation when things are not clear to you. When you are in the wider zone of the cone of uncertainty, then you can do the t-shirt sizing mapping. Probably affinity mapping also can you do. Affinity mapping is where you place the like items together, and in order, I mean, when you have the like items together, you get an understanding, okay, this type of work is more to me and where I need to focus on. And the other famous technique, which is the planning poker or story point technique. So we will be shifting our focus on the story point technique only, because that is something predominantly used in the organization. And we also have planned one exercise where we will be focusing, okay, how story points can be done in the real time, and planning poker can be done played in the real time. So dot voting and bucketing system is something that we can discuss if time permits, because these are not majorly used, but I can give you a brief what is dot voting. So basically, let's say you have uh, 10 items that needs to be estimated, and you have you are you are 5 person, okay, and every person is will be given as 6 points, 6 dots, where they can place where they can feel that out of these 10 items, which item is more important. I mean, individual has a choice whether he wants to place all 6 dots as a one item, or one item, one dot at for one item. So at the end of the voting, we will calculate how many dots each item has received, and based on that, we can prioritize the item. So this is another technique, dot voting. Okay. Can you shift to the next slide, please? Okay. From this, I think I'll hand over to Praveen, who can take you forward. What are the factors that affects this estimation? And Praveen, can you take it forward, please?
Yeah, sure. And before that, I think Raghav wanted to take a picture of everyone. So if you guys can all come on video for a minute, I think Raghav can help us taking one picture.
Praveen, please stop sharing the screen so that it will be easy.
Sure. Yeah. Done.
Hope Raghav also will come on camera.
So Raghav, a lot of fans for you. Please come on.
Yeah, I think.
Hey, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
The camera is getting started.
Yeah, right, sir. I've taken.
I was speaking on mute. So over to you, Praveen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Raghav. Okay, let me quickly share my screen. So before we jump into the factors influencing the estimate, right? So I just wanted to share one of the challenge with my teams, earlier teams, where you know, the experienced lead developer or the manager or a tech manager used to give some estimates for the team, and pushing the new joiners or the lead new developers to go for the same kind of estimate, pushing them down for a, say example, if team comes up with a 5 pointer, they said no, this is something we can able to do in a 3 pointer. So is there something like you guys can also experience, like you guys experienced anytime in your teams?
Yes.
Or it can be the team
Yes,
is
from my side as well.
okay. Thank you, Charan. Thank you, Pawan. Or there is also one more case, like only one team member, one
This
or
is
two
a common practice actually. Sorry.
Yes, and
exactly,
many times only leads come and they just estimate on behalf of the team.
exactly. Yeah. And every time
Same here.
when we speak about it, it's all about time, right? So can we do it in 2 days or 3 days? Why it is taking more than 3 days, 4 days? We will also speak about the time, or number of days, or number of hours, right?
Yeah, also sometimes it's like another team is achieving these things in this many story points,
Compare. Yeah,
but like it cannot be comparable, right? Like Manish
exactly.
said earlier that it's an internal understanding.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's the reason here there are many factors influencing the estimate, but this four is going to help team. Maybe we can try an exercise around it when we discuss more about it. So we don't need to touch base upon the time, how much time it will take, or how many number of days it will take. We can trigger a beautiful conversation within the team with respect to these four factors. One is volume. uh, Say example, how many how much work is there, like are we doing it for multiple countries, or we are trying to do it as a MVP for one country, like just say US, and then extend it to a different countries. That talks about how much is there uh, in order to complete a particular story or a feature. And again, one more thing is about complexity. So how complex this particular work is. Have we, as a team, have a knowledge about this particular tech stack involved within this? Are we able to accomplish within the time frame, or are we able to, is there any complexity involved when connecting with the different third-party teams? So that is one more factor that you can initiate a beautiful conversation within the team. And one thing is knowledge. This is very important, right? So we need to take what is that we completed earlier. What is the knowledge that we are taking from the previous sprint, or a previous PI? If you are working on a safe, what is that we delivered in the previous PI? Is it the same kind of feature? During during first time, you might not covered some of the dependencies or a risk tied up to the particular work. But by taking up the knowledge, whatever we did in the previous PI or iteration, we can able to initiate a conversation whether are we able to go and hit the same roadblock. Do we need to raise it earlier? And do we need to connect with the third party teams? So this is one more factor that help us to identify or help the team to come to a common consensus about the estimation of a user story. And one more thing is uncertainty. So uncertainty, it again ties to any dependency or a risk that we can able to factor it with the team. Say example, we worked on a kind of login page. We are aware of it, but whenever we try to integrate with the DB in order to make one of my investment page as a default page. So in that case, whether I need to integrate with the API or integrate with the DB, all these things are allowable. Like, is it first time we are doing? Is there any dependency that we need to check with the team? Like those kind of uncertainty, we can able to trigger a conversation within the team. So these four factors is going to help us drive a beautiful conversation within the team, so that team will not be able to in this whole conversation, you might have seen that we never talk about how much time it will take, how much days it will take, what is the hours to complete. Rather, we discuss about our experience from the previous completed user stories, or whatever we have on our plate. So these are the four main factors that you keep in mind. Maybe you can use it within your teams to see how exactly the conversation is going to get triggered, along with some of the estimation tool like poker planning. So it will make wonders that happen to me within my team. So my senior lead or my lead developer stop influencing the people. Like rather, it triggers a meaningful conversation or a thoughtful conversation among the team members. Right. So that is, we are going to do that exercise in the last. So move to the next. Again, with the same four factors, maybe can you all help me? It's say example, you're all master in Sudoku, or your team is master in Sudoku, and you have a 2x2 simple exercise here. So what in terms of volume, knowledge, complexity, or uncertainty, what do you see? The first one. Is it simple, complex, or like it takes a bigger
Simple.
simple, right? And if we slightly increase or move to the next level of the competition, when it is a 3x3, we can able to see that, right?
Yeah.
Do you see the
Yes.
volume is getting increased?
Yes.
And knowledge, it can be similar because you are all doing the same sort of, you're all master in that. Do you see that is a kind of complexity is getting increased when compared to the second?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. And again, uncertainty also when compared to the first one, there is a slight increase because the number of items you might stuck at one area and you'll not be able to come out of it. Right. With that same thing, can you all help me with the fourth one? It's a hard round. So
So here volume is also increasing. So
No,
here is knowledge
knowledge
kind of, yeah,
is
same could be or a bit here and there. Complexities for sure. It is very complex going to be. Uncertainty also will be proportionate to it.
exactly, right. So here the knowledge might be need more. He might need to be a master in that so that he can able to crack it, right? And say example, if experienced developer is taking one of the story, maybe I'll go to the next one that makes even more sense. So we have the same example with our day-to-day, day in, day out as a user story. Can you guys help me with a. So you are all working for application. Maybe in last 11 years you are in a team, or last 11 months you are in a team and developing an application. And on the same application, we just wanted to add some 10 text boxes with a simple. There is no validation, nothing. It's just 10 text boxes. So in terms of volume, knowledge, complexity, uncertainty, can you all see? Is it small, big, or large?
Small.
Small.
If DB is involved, then medium.
Yeah,
Otherwise, small.
small, right? So it is kind of small and 10 text boxes. And now the business is coming up with the requirement, same thing, but you want to do 100 text boxes, right?
Only volume has increased.
Yeah. So here volume is increasing, knowledge, uncertainty, complexity, it can be same, right?
Yeah.
Because there is nothing much involved. So in this case, right, team can able to take the first one as a reference story, and the second one by comparing the volume, there is slight increase. So first thing can be a one pointer since we are working on the same kind of application, and the second one can be a 3 or a 2, like based on the discussion. So here we never discussed about what time it takes for the first. Do I complete the first story in the first day, or do I need to complete the second story in day 3 or day 4? Nothing, right? It triggers a conversation within the team about the work that we just wanted to complete. Right. The third one is with same, whatever, as I said, right? So develop application, now it needs some validation. Say example, the email that you are written that need to be validated, or your Aadhaar card need to be edited, or SSN need to be validated. It need to be in a perfect format, or it also need to integrate with DB to see whether they given the valid or true other number, something like that. So there is, you can able to see it's the same 100 text boxes volume wise, even though it is similar, but the complexity or the knowledge to connect with the third party and validate and get the response, display it to the DB or the UI, that increases, and complexity also increases, and there is uncertainty connecting with the third party. So you can able to differentiate between these three stories. What can be one pointer, or what can be a 3-pointer, or what can be a 5 or 8-pointer, right? So these factors will help the team to drive the conversation by looking at the work. What is the work that we need to complete? And before I move to next slide, anyone raised a question to us from Master or your Agile coach, like why are we using Fibonacci series or a modified?
Yes, I want to ask this question actually.
Okay.
I was asked in the interview, okay,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
was completely blank that point of time. But after that, I read the
Golden ratio.
Google it out, and then come to the conclusion.
Okay.
No, but my concern is like different over here. So while the story point estimation, we find something is very small task, which a developer addresses 2 to 3 hours of completion. So at that point, we can go for point 0.5 share. They were discussing that one. That I
Okay.
want to get clarified whether to give it or not.
Okay. So within Agile, like we use modified Fibonacci series to estimate the user stories. So it is all about Fibonacci series, like whatever we speak or we experience within Agile, it is all behind the science. Like there is science behind that. There is a research behind that. There is a lot of readings behind that. So so when you see Fibonacci series, right? Say example, if I say a user story is 3-pointer and another user story is a 5-pointer, you can see it is maximum like close to double of that. There is a relative gap between these two. And whenever the number goes up like 20 and 40 and then 40 to 100, you can see easily compare it with the complexity of the work getting increased when the number is getting increased. But if you say that there is a story point at 3 and there is one more story point with the sequence number as 4, you don't able to differentiate that. Okay, so Weber's law is nothing but just noticeable difference. It is J and D. It is something used across all the advertisements. Wherever you see offers, you are getting attracted, your stimuli is getting attracted. Everything, the human nature, everything is based on the Fibonacci series or Weber's law. So whenever you see a just noticeable difference, that's when we are going for a relative estimate, or relate the one object with the other object to say that, okay, this is bigger than this, right? If I give you dumbbells, or you're going to a gym for the day one, and they are giving you 1 kg in one hand, 2 kg in other hand, will you be able to differentiate that? Like it's 1 kg and 2 kg. Like you can able to realize that, right? So one is heavier than the second one. Are you able to do that?
Yes.
Right. And same, you become master of 1 and 2 kg, and then after a 10 days of training, the same gym master giving you 20 and 21 kg. In that case, do you able to see the difference?
No.
Right. That's when we use this Fibonacci series, or that's when we need the constant gap between two numbers, or just noticeable difference. So if you see, it is always close to 50 to 60% difference from one number to the other number. It says how the complexity or the volume or the knowledge or uncertainty is getting increased from one to other. That's one of the reason why we go for a Fibonacci series, right? And also you can Google or go to YouTube, just search for golden ratio or a nature code. You can see a lot of video about Fibonacci series, like when the leaves are getting arranged, when the leaves are getting arranged in the stem, it is also a kind of Fibonacci series. And the petals of the flowers, a rose is one of the examples. There are a lot of things you can able to see. It's a beautiful video that you can go and see. That's the reason why we use a modified Fibonacci series when estimating the user stories. Okay, so now we have an exercise. Sorry. Now we have an exercise here. We have created a poker planning. So poker planning, we can able to do it in a lot of free websites, and we do recommend one of the site where we already created a story. Since we are recording it, we are not going into a breakout room session. You guys can come in, and we all can discuss and estimate the number of stories that you can see on the poker planning tool, and it's a free tool. So what we are trying to do, we are going into it, look at the user stories and see what is something we can able to start with first and try to estimate it. Based on that, comparing to that, we'll go to the second one and then estimate the story. So are we all set?
So everyone need to go to team 1.
Yes, I'll ping that URL
Okay.
on the chat so that everyone will be on the team 1. So is it all okay for everyone?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. So I just ping a URL on the chat. Whenever you come in, it will ask you for a name. You can give your name and then join this room. Okay, Lavanya is Praveen, Harish. Yeah, great. Good to see you all. So whenever you get this back to your team, say example, now we are with a Scrum Master, product owner, and along with the teams. So this tool is giving you a better UI. You can able to see what numbers that you have to start with. So you said 0.51, right? So you can also take it out. You can say that is not a part of Fibonacci series. So this is the modified Fibonacci series that we can able to start with. And you can write up all your user stories, and even you can able to move up and move down based on the priority. So this is all. So let's take our first story. When everyone is in, we'll take 30 seconds just for everyone. Okay, we can see a lot of in. So let's get started. So first story is all about, as a user, I want to log in to my account with my user ID and password so that I can able to access my account page. It's a just simple login user story. So now everyone will go and choose whatever number that you feel for this particular user story based on the factors. What is the volume? What is unknown? Like what is the knowledge that you know about it? How complex it is? Based on that, everyone can able to choose. You can able to see a tick mark, meaning all the team members like Charan, Bhakti, Lini, they were already selected the story points for that. So whenever you see everyone from your team is already voted, then you can flip it to see what is the difference in opinion and why it is 2 for someone, why it is 8 for someone. That triggers a meaningful conversation. So with the interest of time, I'll just go and flip the cards. Is that fine here, Manish? Can we go and do the?
Yeah, I think we can wait for next 5 seconds.
It says three players to vote.
Yeah,
Can you
I
all
think
vote?
you can go ahead. Probably they might have some technical issue.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. So here, still we haven't started discussion. So when we do this, whenever a story is perfectly meeting the inverse criteria, or as much as possible, it is meeting the inverse criteria, and it is vertically sliced. So that case, when you get it to the poker planning and team is all ready without any questions, I'll mute Aditya. Okay. So without any questions, that way, team can able to, everyone individually, they can able to go and pick their vote for their user stories. So let me flip the cards. So it says we starting from 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. So the percentage between 1, 2, and 3 is close to 25 to 28 percentage. So now as a scrum master, like we can trigger a conversation. Say example, who picked 1. So can you speak to it? Why do you feel it is a 1? Or anyone who voted as 8 or 13, we can pick them to see why it is 13. Or any other team member is missing any other dependencies or risk, right? We can able to question or trigger this conversation within the team. So can someone who voted 13, can you unmute and see, share any reason why it is 13 based on volume, complexity, knowledge, and uncertainty?
Yeah, hi. This is Tushar here. So I voted 13. I feel, I mean, we have to have a proper front end or a proper UI screen. We have to have appropriate backend system in place, the prod DB, also to handle the load. For example, we do not know how many people would be logging in at one particular time. So the load management of it, also right validation mechanism, whether if it's two-factor authentication, then again there is a different system altogether. And since we're developing the login, so probably we are very early in the development where it would take considerable amount of time, because it's not easily, or it is the first one of the first early steps of any application. So I feel like since there's a lot of variables in play, a lot of complexities that are there, so just assign 13 for this user story.
Okay, great perspective, Tushar. Thanks for sharing. So maybe anyone who voted 2 or 1, do you see, is that a valid point to consider based on whatever the discussion that happened? As a team, do we want to go back and estimate it again, or you want to share your perspective why it is 1 pointer? Anyone who voted as 1?
So I want to share my concern here. So as per the previous speaker told that 13 votes, I agree with them, because every scrum master over here is not relying on the same process. Why I vote for 1 is this: I'm working on RP and UI path. So we doesn't have n number of logins. We have a single login to do that one. So for my process, 1 is suitable. It depends upon the process to process.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. It all based on the application, right? That's why we have product owner also within the conversation. So that question goes to product owner. See, do we want to spend something on that performance testing now, or what kind of user is going to be? Is it a internal application? Is it a something we are giving it back? Those kind of conversation again triggers within the team based on whatever the thought process that everyone within the team is having for this particular story, right? So anyone who is in the middle, like three, or you want to share your perspective, why it is three?
So, hello, am I audible?
Yeah, Sanjay. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, so I voted for three regarding only for the two reasons. Actually, if we go to there, enable two-factor authentication for the user login. It is just enabling the authentication. It is not saying any for functional, any other non-functional requirement. Okay. So I hope that it is the already there is a login page. Okay. As per the user story, just the process how the login should be done. Hello.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah,
We
you're
can hear
audible.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is only the authentication process, not in relating to how login screen or UI. It is there. I feel it is already there. That's why I put it the three also. That is for enabling the two-factor authentication part.
Okay. Yeah. Again, yeah, fine. So you might have looked at the second story, but we are working on the first one. It says about how to log in and what to after login. What is that? But yeah, again, thanks for that, Sanjay. So everyone get the gist of it, right? So now using this particular tool, how we can enable or create a conversation within the team. Here, no one is influencing anyone, so we can able to get the perspective from the individual team members and consensus, like come to a consensus why it is three or why it is five. So that is the main agenda about this particular item when we talk about this poker planning. So hope you guys are able to get that.
So one more thing I would like to add.
Please.
I voted it because I considered, because there it is not mentioned how many channels through which the customer would be logging in. Right?
Yeah.
It could be
Yes.
a mobile application, it
Mobile.
could be a internet banking application, or both or more. Right?
Okay. So I'm so happy because you see that, right? So these kind of conversation will never happen within our refinement. When we go to a refinement session, like either one or two people will be talking, either the test lead or the test developer, lead developer will be talking, and these kind of conversation or questions will never started from the team. So this is one of the best tool that I experienced in my teams, where team will start speaking more, putting in a lot of good questions, sharing their perspective, sharing their thought process, how to test it, or is there any testing scenario available? Is there any previous things available? A lot of things that we can able to trigger a conversation within the team without touching their ego, or like when you are going to complete it, what time you are going to complete it. Like that's never we discussed. So we have 50 plus participants here. We never talked about how many days it will take to complete. It's just about how when comparing to the first story to the second story, how are we going to estimate this, what we know about it, what is the volume about it, what is the uncertainty about it. So that's triggering a beautiful conversation within the team. So I think you guys can take it back to this team. If you're already trying, it's well and good. If not, it will make changes within the teams.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, see, though I have given one story point, but being as a in a team, there are developers and testers. Now, developer would be taking their own time, and the QA team would be taking their own time. So, in that case, if I'm a developer, I'm giving a story point one. But if I'm a tester, then how will we match as a Scrum Master?
Okay. So here I said, right, before we voting, I said 2 points. Make sure your your story is meeting the inverse criteria and it is vertically sliced. So meaning it is the whatever number that we are talking about, it includes development effort and also testing effort. That's when the value is being delivered. That's when we are marking the story as done. It also meet the acceptance criteria along with your definition of done, whatever is marked in the definition of done or a working agreement. So that's when we were able to ship this particular user story, right? So this particular estimate, the estimate that we talk about triggering the conversation, it all includes from the user story to get complete along with the UOD and then getting it deployed and add a value to the user. So
And just to add on that, Praveen,
yeah.
so when we say QA, and I mean, when we separate QA and developers from the team, that means we are not a cross-functional team. So, I mean, you might have read in the Scrum guide that there is no role as QAs. Everyone in the team is developers apart from Scrum Master and product owner. So basically, what does it mean that we need to promote collaboration in our team? We need to ensure that whenever we are estimating or whenever we are doing such kind of stuff, so we do opinion of everyone who is present in our team, and we collaborate in a manner that we don't have to differentiate that he is a developer or he's a QA or tester person who's giving the efforts.
Yeah, Manish, but one thing I would like to add, being as a tester, there may be possibility that tester must be having positive scenarios and negative scenarios in his mind. And the way he tests and the way the developer would be doing that may differ.
Yeah, and
So
that is the purpose of the shared understanding. I mean, if he has some positive or negative aspects of test cases, then that is what we are trying to develop the shared understanding. I mean, if developer was not aware of those aspects, then these discussions would enhance his knowledge or probably create an insight. Okay, this is something that I missed, and he or she can refine his estimates. I mean, I'll not
Exactly.
refer to project specific things because because of the time constraint that we have. But in case you have any questions, probably we can discuss it later.
But yeah, the point is like very guys able to get the gist of it, like why we started using this and how it make any difference in the regular basis. So maybe
Yeah.
can I go and clear these words and based on
Yeah.
whatever conversation we had, right? Can we all
Right.
again just select one number with the conversation that you heard as a user? I want to log in, user ID and password, just one number.
Robin, I have a question.
Yeah, please,
Can I ask?
please, yeah.
Like, consider there is a new team member,
Beautiful
and there
question.
is a one member who is been into the project for 3 years,
Yes,
and like there would be definitely difference between the efforts for the new and the one who is working.
exactly.
So how
Yeah.
can we narrow down or make them on the same page?
Exactly. So, say example, the one who with experienced developer, so he might pick the same number as two. And since I'm new to the team, I have never done any setup. I don't have any setup, so it takes time for me to do the setup. And then for me, this application is not something I have the hands-on experience. So I'll just go for eight, right? So in that
Correct.
case, when we flip the cards, there is going to be a different of opinion, difference in opinion, two and eight, and there might be a conversation happen. And the experienced developer might have said that, okay, I can share you the link where we can go and do the estimates or like do the setup, and I can let you know like to add one particular field, how to do it. The same thing applies for the other nine fields. Say example, the other user story, we just want to add 10 fields. So he can able to share the knowledge. So they'll not be able to come and go, okay, say take it as a 2 pointer. It can be end up, the conversation might end up with a 5 pointer. The point is that's when even it can be assigned to the new developer who just joined, or it can be assigned to the lead developer. So that's where we have to create a cross functionality. Like he cannot go and do it as a 2 pointer. He still to stick to a 5 pointer because that is a team consensus. And then he can share the knowledge with the other team members so that we are passing the knowledge or making the team cross functional. So that whenever it is coming in the next sprint or the next PI, the same thing goes to the other developer. Then it will be the knowledge is being passed. So we are taking the team's common consensus here to estimate the items. But thanks for that question, Charan. Beautiful question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think we are hitting time. Uh,
Sorry, one more question, if you don't mind.
yeah,
So in the same scenario, so it's a three type of work. For example, in the user story, for this user story, so story point is nothing but a value to the customer, whatever value we are delivering. So it will be the React work for designing the screen. There will be the API work for authentication and the testing. So my three different team members have given the, let's say, two story point, one for front end, one for back end, and one for testing. So altogether it will be six. So in that case, what will be the story point estimate? Because it's six is not the Fibonacci series number.
yeah. So if you attended the last session, like it was all about story splitting and vertical slicing. So
Mhm.
uh, if you maybe the famous example everyone will give, when you go to a pastry shop, when you go to a cake shop, when you cut it vertically, that's when we will be able to get the flavor of the full cake. So we'll not be able to just deliver only the UI to the customer so that they can just see the UI without any user ID or password. It has to be linked from the API or the backend, and also get back the response, the successful message from the DB. So it need to be vertically sliced so that we are delivering a value to the customer. Like story need to be independent, meaning it should be testable, it should be add value, right? It should be small enough. So that's when the story splitting techniques or vertical slicing techniques help team to deliver a value, not as a vertically and not as horizontally.
Okay, sure. That answers my question. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I think we are having a one minute, so if you are
Probably
all
we
set,
can skip this
yeah.
estimation of second one. Yeah.
Again, whatever we discussed, use the historical data. When you have some issue within your team, let's go back to your historical data, and then you respect the cone of uncertainty, like continuously do the refinements. So we can do refinement at many places, at the product backlog level or the sprint backlog level, and have a shared understanding. Don't touch upon like it need to be precisely going to be absolute estimate. Don't aim for that. Go using the relative estimate, and don't compare the user story with one team to other teams, because everyone will have a different skill set. We might be working on a different user story or different functionality, so it never be used as a comparative between the performance within the teams. And again, as lastly mentioned, don't focus on speed, just focus on the factors to trigger the conversation within the team, like complexity, uncertainty, volume, and what is the knowledge the team had. So these will help you all to come out of the pitfalls or any issues that we guys face in the estimates. Any questions for us? I think we right on time, 1 minute over, but
yeah, before going to questions, can we go to the slide one again where we had the facts, myths, and facts question?
Sure. Yeah, here you go.
The next, yeah. So I just want you to, I mean, those who have answered and correct at the beginning of the session, just now understand, okay, that does it make sense? So just go through these questions, and meanwhile, if someone has any questions related to the session, they can ask.
Sure. Thank you.
I had a question here. So the last one, estimation is done by entire team. So this one will be done by the lead developers and discussed with the team, right? The subtasks.
Nah. So basically, this is a myth. I mean, so you want to go
Oh,
ahead, Praveen? Sorry, I cut in between.
developers do one PO and myself in my team. That's why I'm asking.
No, it should be a team. So you put a refinement session, invite all the team members and go into a tool like something like poker planning. Let everyone get into the discussion. Otherwise, we should be dependent on that particular lead. So it's basically a team to discuss.
It's very small currently. That's why I'm asking this question.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to cook a dish, delicious dish, and you don't want to. I mean, the cook, chef, who are cooking the dish does not know. I mean, are not collaborating with each other and does not know what to cook. Then they're going in their own way. So you can imagine what dish is going to come at the end. So that is a. I mean, if the developers are working at the ground level, so it is up to them how they want to work. We have to give that flexibility, and that we have to provide them that scope of the innovation where they can provide novelty in the thoughts and they can add value to the story. So, I mean, if developers do the estimation, it would be more fruitful, and it would be more close to the absolute estimation. This is what I can say.
Exactly. So even in traditional way, right?
Experience.
Yeah, traditional way, if you see that we used to give estimates based on the different phases of a project, like requirements and then development, implementation, testing, and documentation. So who will be involved? The very lead level managers, not even the ground level team members. So obviously it always fail, and there is going to be a huge difference, right? It is all because that's the reason we move to the relative. It is incremental and it is iterative, and it involves the entire team member who is actually working there. So they give the ground level of issue, and based on that, we are able to give the estimate. So that's the reason this agile relative estimates, and then all these things started evolving and giving us some better results. So maybe you can, start involving everyone. But
yeah. And one more
Praveen
thing.
and Manish. Okay.
Yeah, sorry for there is all the developers who are on the team are scheduled to do or scheduled or they should do the UIT, right? Unit testing
Yeah,
by
that should be part
themselves.
of your DOD. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm asking that all the developers should do the unit testing and then it will be a system integration or UIT what we are performing on a separate task, right? That depends upon organizations. But unit should be carried by developers, right? Unit testing.
Yes, ideally,
Yes,
yes.
exactly. Yes. So
I mean, yeah,
nowadays,
it is not
now,
something that you can define it from one project or one team. So it is, I mean, it will vary from team to team and organization to organization. If you feel
yeah,
that you are creating a product that does not require unit testing, then you are free to go. But if you feel, I mean, if your acceptance criteria and definition of done says that, okay, we want to validate our product at the unit stage, at the this stage and this stage, and then also we want to validate at the integration stage. So this is something that you need to agree with the team member. I mean, you cannot
exactly.
enforce these kind of things because ultimately the what we are aiming for, we are aiming for the quality of the product or the quality of the increment that we are creating. So
So
whether
these are
that
all,
is
yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
I got it. I got
Mhm.
it. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays what happened, this is getting tied up to your pipeline. Whenever you commit a code, you need to have a unit coverage in some organization. As Manish mentioned, it varies from team to team. Within the organization also it varies. But if you, these are all good practices that we can able to highlight to the team for our continuous improvement of providing a quality code, a quality product.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a
Pravindas, I
question.
have one question.
Uh,
So, if entire team is new to this story point estimation, so they are just joining the agile team or like that we can. So, what is the first technique we can show them to have a estimation in first place? I'm asking.
Yeah, you can just show the same example, run through uh, a different size of animals to see how you can estimate. Like get the one story that they are already completed in the last sprint, and why it was 3 pointer based on the same thing. Like you can get them into the call. It is a one of the myth or fact question that we answered, right? Only the experienced team should do. It's not that. You can start doing it to your team. Then only they will take the learning, and then they'll start evolving or collaborating as a team. So you can start right away, like how you are. You can start now. That's what they say in Kanban too. So it is just how you can start it from that particular step. So
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
May I add into
yeah,
something on this?
sure,
In
please.
this,
Yeah.
yeah. So it is. It will take a while. First, you can start with the or pick a story which is not too small, not too big or complex. Means somewhere around mid-size, and just ask the team how what they feel like, and just based upon those parameters like complexity, uncertainty, and all, just give any number. It's could be 2 pointers, 3 pointers, even 5 pointers. Okay, and just based upon that, pick other story and ask them in reference to that how you feel, whether it is feels like more complex, more uncertainties and other parameters around, then obviously it will be more pointers, and if it feels like lesser, then obviously lesser. You go ahead, do that. Once they will execute, they will come to know whatever they had estimated, whether it was correct, it was lesser, taking lesser time and complexity, everything. Then come to the next sprint or so, again meet and again do. So it will, you have to do this workshop or hand holding for approximately 1 2 months or so. And after that, I think they'll be much more aligned and experienced. So your the reference points will also change, okay, as they will get matured. Whatever you had estimated or taken as in the initially the reference point, that as a 5 pointer, for example, next time or after 2 sprints, it might be the team might be feeling it is just a 2 or 3 pointers. We can do that, okay. And one other misconception or the bad thing which team does in reality, to be very honest, they equate one story points equals to 1 day. Okay, that is totally different. Like for example, I always take this example or give the team. For everyone, you go from your home to office. The road or direction you can define, right? That this will be the route which we will be taking it up. So how that route is, whether it is bumpy, it is very smooth and all. So for everyone, that thing will be, or you have traveled to that route earlier, then it will be known, right? If you have not, then unknown route it is around. And if you are a very good driver, you might be taking 1 hour to reach. Another person who's first time driving or he's not that much experience might be taking 2 hours or 1.5 hours, right? So effort and this uh, understanding of complexity, uncertainty, those are totally different. So people just mix it, but those two things should be not mixed.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, I
Thanks,
think we
Sanjay.
should also respect the time boxing because
Yeah.
Yeah,
people are leaving.
yeah, Manish, I have a question just.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
can I
ahead,
ask?
please. Yeah,
Yeah,
please go ahead.
Go
yeah,
ahead.
to everyone. Actually, is focus factor a relevant criteria while making story point estimates?
Yeah, I mean,
I know it was
Mhm.
not discussed here, but in some teams where I mean, for because to understand and even introduce focus factor, we must make sure that that we have some sprints which were successfully in progress. I mean, which were successfully completed. Then only we can come up with this data. Is it necessary or is it relevant enough to use focus factor while make story
No,
point
it is
estimates?
it is not necessary. I mean, I would suggest make estimation as simple as you can. It should not be a burden to the team that they need to estimate and then they will be questioned because see, everything requires a cost. Everything is there is a cost associated with estimation, not for the time that you are spending on these meetings, but also for the time that you are not doing the actual focus work where you are supposed to build those features. So make the estimation simple. The one thing that you can do is that instead of loading the 100% capacity, you can load 80% of the capacity that you have and let the team innovate, let the team decide how they want to achieve the sprint goal. I mean, rather than a push based technique, a pull based technique is should be preferred so that they understand their work, they understand the goal, they understand the vision, and once they understand the all the stuff, then team will become more accountable and they can deliver more value to the team. This is what I can say from my experience. Praveen, you want to add something?
No, you pretty much covered, Manish. I think you're spot on. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. I hope we all added some value to you for this 1 hour that you spent with us. Thank you for joining. It's a great session for us. Thank you, Manish.
Please
And
provide
Thank
your
you.
feedback for
Thank
us,
you.
Thank you.
and so that we can your feedback will matter a lot to us and it will keep us motivated to continue similar sessions in future.
yeah,
Yeah.
please do share
Thank
your
you, everyone.
feedbacks. Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Praveen and
everyone.
Manish.
Your
Thank you.
time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Praveen, you want to close the call?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Raghav to stop the recording. I think
Okay.
I'll go and end it. Yeah. Again, nice connect, Manish.
Thank you.